Hey, this is Randy with Project Management Made Simple. Today I want to talk about planning techniques and based on what we find with the Project Management Institute, or PMI. And the first one I'll talk about is analogous estimating. So analogous estimating is taking an existing project maybe and using that as a point of reference for an estimate for a new project. So let's say you have a project you have to estimate. You know it's similar in size to the previous project you've done. So you're going to look at the previous project, you're going to say what was the time, schedule, and budget, and scope maybe even to some degree, but on that, and you're going to use that then to estimate the new project you have. So that's analogous estimating, taking an existing project or an old project and using that for a present project you're trying to estimate. Another one is parametric estimating, and parametric estimating is really data-driven. It is an example of is a cost per square foot, and obviously you would use this with construction, other things of that nature, but generally with app dev work or IT work, this isn't something we generally use. You can. Another one is bottom-up estimating. Bottom-up estimating, this is one I like because it's most accurate. So essentially what we do is we have a risk breakdown structure. We have a tasks, and then we will estimate those tasks. And once we estimate those tasks, then we will look at the estimates, and we will accumulate, and we will combine, and we will then have an estimate for the entire work. So it's taking and aggregating all the estimates into one estimate, and that's bottom-up estimating. Now there's a few different tools, if you will, you can use when estimating. One is called the three-point estimating, and they used to call this the PERT formula, and it's changed a little bit based on PMI, but essentially, and it's a little bit easier now, but they take the optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely, and then they will divide that by 3. So it's a great tool. And I'll give you an example of where I've used this in the past. I had one developer, great developer, wonderful developer, and did a great job, great communicator. But he was always very, very optimistic in his estimating. So we took this 3-point estimating, or the PERT formula at the time, and we weighted the pessimistic. And actually that gave us better estimates because we knew he was just overly optimistic. So there's ways you can use to get better estimates when maybe someone's optimistic by nature or pessimistic. Obviously, if it's they're good at most likely, you're probably fine. But that's one estimating technique. The other technique, and I want to talk about just briefly, is it's called reserve analysis. And reserve analysis is basically your contingency fund. So some companies, they'll say 10%, we're going to do a contingency, 25% contingency. Sometimes you'll build a contingency within your tasks. So teams do this differently, but essentially what you're doing is you're building a buffer into your work so that if it goes longer than anticipated, you have some room there. So that's called a reserve analysis, and it's a good tool to use. And again, that's done differently. Again, some people just say we're going to add 10%, some 25%. Others, they will try to build that into maybe specific tasks. So just to kind of review this, we have analogous estimating. That's when we take maybe an old project and we compare that to a current project. We have a parametric estimating. That's, again, very data-driven. Cost per square foot is an example. We have also one bottom-up estimating, and that's my favorite. We're taking all the tasks and the effort, and we're aggregating that into one estimate. And again, we have this 3-point formula where it takes the optimistic and pessimistic and most likely and divide that by 3, and you get a weighted average. So I hope this short video has been a help, been a value, benefit to you. Estimating's hard, and I'll say I've been doing project management for about 20 years now, and it seems like estimating is probably the hardest thing we do as project managers. So having a handle on estimating and having an approach is important. And again, I like bottom up, but there's other forms that are good. So again, I hope this has been of some value. I would ask, by the way, that you would like this video. That would mean a lot to me. And also like the channel, subscribe to the channel. And with that, I wish you a great day. Thank you for watching.